fun with the word of the day. So, now to ask our dear grammarian who gave us our word of the day, Dan, what would you distinguish to be your greatest memory of either your mom or your dad, or both?
He slowly walks to the podium.
Slowly, ever so
He
slowly.
confronts the tabletop.
Yes.
He shakes his hand and he takes the podium. I do that, Ryan, when I'm at a loss for words.
I'll take note.
Because my greatest memory of my mother and my father, or both, come up with at a moment's notice is I have to have the whole half hour to think about it and put it together. And I don't have that, so I'm going to change the subject. But I will use the word to distinguish myself among my memories of the most interesting thing I've seen in this particular environment. I will tell you that I will interject one of my parents. I will know that my father used to take a Dale Carnegie, I think he took a Dale Carnegie course. Now, that may have been the forerunners of Toastmasters. It's not the most particular thing that stood out, but that's where I'm going to stop it right there. Enough said.
All right. So next, Lucia.
Yes.
How would you distinguish between the French culture and the American culture? I know her well.
Thank you. I'm going to switch a little bit the question.
Hey.
All right. All right. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. I would say I am familiar with various cultures, not just the French one. Although my family is from France, but I grew up with various cultures. I was raised multicultural. Then I would say the United States, I would definitely consider international. In the United States, there's like people from all over the world. France is similar. I can't really say what the differences are. They're very different culturally, language-wise, education-wise. There are various differences. Culture-wise, I can't really put the words to it. Every country has their habits. Every country has their likes. Some friends can like something that Spain doesn't like, and vice versa. I can just say every country is different, and I really don't have much to say. Thank you.
All right. Next, Betsy. What would you say is that you would distinguish as your most exciting, memorable event as area director?
Good evening once again, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Here I go again. Here I go again. Remember, 2 years ago, I did improv acting for 2 semesters. Loved it. I commuted to the Cape, a 3-hour round trip once a week for 8 weeks. I was tired, but it gets in your blood, gets in my blood. At the end of one of our semesters, we went to an actual performance, improv performance in Cambridge. It was good, a lot of MIT students, a lot of Harvard University students. But this last time, we went to the Improv Asylum in Boston. Remember, that's going to be at the Toastmaster event. And guess what I did this week? I'm so excited. I signed up with the Improv Asylum to take improv acting again. And I can't begin to tell you how excited I am. And I'm actually going to take a beginner. They have 6 levels that take you all the way to professional. So here I go again. Stay tuned for the next chapter. Thank you.
Let's see if someone chooses to answer one of my questions that I was asked. I know, we're allowed to change the question. Tabletopics Esther is starting to. All right. Laura, what would you distinguish as your most favorite part of Reiki?
My most favorite part is Reiki. I guess it's hard to name one, but I think the more experienced I've gotten over the years, I've been doing it 12 years now full time, and I do it in a medical office. I would say when you get somebody that's been suffering, say 3 months post-op, wound's not healing, and they come in for a session, and I say, oh, maybe we'll try 3. And they come back after the first session and go, my wound finally closed up. Or you get people with neuropathy, all of a sudden, no matter what they're trying, they're getting improvement. Or people with PTSD or anxiety, and nothing that they have tried worked, but doing the things that we were doing. Some, could be simple sessions, others would take longer, and seeing those improvements for the first time, people getting relief that they never had before. For me, that's the greatest gift of all, because when you see those things, it just brings pure joy. It makes you want to keep doing it.
Thank you for answering my question as I asked it. All right. Let's see. Who's next? Ed, what would you distinguish as something that maybe people should have been more informed about during the election last November?
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Hello again, everybody. I don't know. I think people should have been more informed of the fact that they needed to have paid attention much earlier than they did. So, because I believe that both political parties had candidates that were much better qualified than the 2 that ended up being the finalists. So, even probably people that didn't even run could have been. So, I think we, the electorate, should try to be more encouraging to people who are trying to enter public life and service, rather than just because they don't agree with me, they aren't pushing the policy that I believe is the #1 priority. We should encourage people to try to get involved in public service and not try to tear them down. So that's what I would have liked to have seen people be more informed about much earlier in the process. Thank you.
Let's see. John Gallagher, what would you distinguish as the poem that you have memorized the most, or whatever your favorite poem was?
I think I'll distinguish myself tonight by not going to poetry. I'm leaving my house this evening, and my wife was making a gullah cake. What's a gullah cake, I thought? Well, I knew gullah. I've heard the word gullah before, because I knew it was in South Carolina, and they made gullah baskets. And I was interested, so I read up on it a little bit. And she's in a book club, and they're going to be discussing a book on Nigeria tomorrow night. And so the gullah cake is actually a cake that would originate, currently anyways, from South Carolina, Georgia. And it's a slave cake. And the Gullah were an ancient African population. Came from places like Sierra Leone and Angola and Liberia. And the Africans in those areas were, interestingly enough, and this was like 1500s, they were producing rice. They had rice plantations in Africa. But those people were captured and brought as slaves to South Carolina and Georgia to be used in the plantation, the rice plantations down there. And these people were called the Gullah people. They're G-U-L-L-A-H. And the Gullah, and they had their own language, and they lived in South Carolina. And as time has evolved, they had a lot of their own language, and words that they had, like mother, which would say, they go other, and they had a lot of differentiations like that. But at the time of the Jim Crow laws and things of that nature, after the Civil War, they didn't want to leave the 100 or so islands that were down through South Carolina and Georgia. They wanted to stay there and maintain their culture. They were all close together. They'd all come from Western Africa, and they were all living in those particular areas. So they came there, and they still live there now. And these days, if you go in those areas, they get down there, and they do produce a lot of basic kinds of things, like the most intricate, wonderful baskets they make and things of that nature. And they still have the wonderful heritage, the connections that they had back in Africa many years ago. They came over in the 1500s. They came over here. So in honor of the Gullah people, she was making the Gullah cake, and the Gullah cake was considered, they called it a dirty cake down there in South Carolina, because it was a chocolate cake. That was the way the Gullahs made it. But they had their language, they're still connected, they're living on those islands down there, maintaining their culture, showing that they could persevere, that they could stay together, they could be loyal to each other, not abandon their heritage, and continue to this day. Thank you.
That's very good. I forgot. I meant to ask you what you would distinguish as your most favorite childhood memory from Roslindale. But I thought about it this morning, but just now I didn't think about it. Another time. All right. John Sullivan, what would you distinguish as your most memorable experience as a lector at your church? Thank you, John.
Thanks. Fellow Toastmasters and one guest. That's an easy one. It was the feast of Saint Stephen, who happened to be a martyr of the church, S-T-E-P-H-E-N. And on that day, there was a spider hanging from the microphone. And I came out, and the spider was upside down, and I think it's the Toastmaster influence that causes you to be a little bit extemporaneous, even in situations where you probably shouldn't be. And I just said at the end of the Mass, I said, well, I just want you to know that there was a spider dangling from the microphone and went back up the phone as soon as I came out. And but I really didn't have any choice in the matter. It moved so fast I couldn't catch it. But I did say that under the circumstances, under the circumstances, I felt that it was best that we save it. So that was my most memorable. Not very memorable, I think.
Thank you, John. Wow, that's memorable. Boy, oh boy. Let's see. Frank, what would you distinguish to be your best moment of today?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, once again, and welcome to our guest again. My best moment today, perhaps, is when I was doing a little research about a fellow by the name of Bob Dylan. I heard recently that he won the Nobel Peace Prize, the Nobel Prize in Literature. And I thought that was intriguing because, you know, he's a musician, and what does that have to do with literature, you know, in my mind? So I did some research, and I was intrigued and actually amazed at you know, the whole process of awarding him the Nobel Prize. Again, noted for his music. Now, the music that I knew him most for were those songs that he sang, those songs that were so popular. They were like anthems back in the 60s and the 70s. But I came across a few facts that I thought were just so incredible, and I want to share them with you right now. One involves a young lady. She was very young, I don't know, maybe 14. She lived in Australia, and she wanted to perform on one of these talent shows on TV. And she had a great singing voice, but she needed a song. So she heard a song on the radio sung by George Harrison. The song was called "If Not For You." So anybody recognize that song?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, "If Not For You," yeah. So she heard George Harrison sing it. She contacted George Harrison and said, "Sir, I love that song. May I please sing it on this TV show?" He said, "You're asking the wrong guy. It was written by Bob Dylan. You got to call Bob." Bob gave her permission. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Olivia Newton-John. That was her first time on TV.